the service and recreational interest of everyone in our city. And what I love about the direction we're going is it's starting to get noticed, and a great example would be cricket. Now I know there may be a few cricket fans here. Is it one or two? One or two here? I remember getting invited to watch the India-Pakistan cricket match. And I asked what the viewing audience was for that match. 1 billion people. Can you imagine that? 1 billion people. So the interest in cricket, we saw that in the GT20, was incredible. Well, this council has added more cricket fields in our 4 years in office than any city in Canada. And it's not just fields. We're adding lights, we're adding grass cutting equipment. I want to make sure that if you want to play a sport, you have the ability to do so. And this is just the tip of the iceberg. We're going to continue to make record investments in cricket to make sure, thank you, to make sure that if there's a wait list for teams, that they don't have to be on some forgotten wait list, that they can actually have their tournaments, have their leagues, and have the ability to be healthy and active. But one thing that I would say I'm most proud of, and what we're going to continue to fight for, is to make sure we fight for every resident. At the end of the day, it's about giving everyone equal opportunity. That you can roll up your sleeves, you can achieve anything. And let's not, ignore the fact that there is systemic barriers. And we will never be quiet in standing up for what is right. And sometimes we do so when it's not comfortable to do so. I remember when I was the first mayor speaking out against Bill 21 in Quebec, which says that you can't wear a hijab or a turban and be a government worker. I remember there was Quebec radio shows attacking me saying, what is that idiot doing speaking about our bill? Literally, I was being ridiculed. I remember at the time saying, I don't mind being ridiculed because we are on the right side of history. And if you stand up for religious freedom, you will always be on the right side of history. I remember sitting with Councillor Singh and Councillor Santos and Councillor Basante and Councillor Paleshi. And we had some colleagues who were saying, we don't want you to talk about this. Even boycotted. I had councillors that refused to go to the meeting where I was passing that motion to fight Bill 21. You know what we started on Bill 21? Where we donated the first 100,000 to say that there's no second-class citizens in this country? 30 cities joined our campaign. 30 cities. Right now, this battle is going to the Supreme Court. To the Supreme Court. And the law in Quebec says that if you wear a hijab or a turban and you want to be a nurse, a police officer, a teacher, you would be fired. Imagine that. It's horrendous. Kuldeep Goli is here somewhere. Where is Kuldeep? There. Kuldeep wears a turban, works in my office. He's an absolute star for us. Absolute star. He couldn't work in a city right now in Quebec because he wears a turban. How offensive is that? It's vulgar. And this is going to the Supreme Court, and they did not have the funds to fight, to protect the Canadian Charter. And because of the campaign we started in Brampton, it is now fully funded to defend the Canadian Charter and stand up for religious freedom. And the reason this affects us is because if there's a precedent in the Supreme Court, it affects all Canadians. And I have to say, and the councillors here can tell you, we barely got quorum that day. Something that I knew in my core, my heart, was the right thing to do, and we had an obligation to fight for Canadian multiculturalism. We only got quorum by one. So there's a number of council candidates here today who share my vision that we defend religious freedom. And I say it's so important that they're successful so that we have a council that will not hesitate to standing up for what's right. I see Amin, my friend here from the Palestine House. I remember being the first mayor of the country to speak out against the violence in Al-Aqsa. And I will never hesitate. I will never hesitate to stand up for religious freedom because that's who we are in Brampton. We love each other. We respect our neighbors. We're a city of harmony. And so the challenge going forward is to build a team that can continue to build upon this. And I have to say, I love our city. I love Brampton, but we need people of the caliber of Rowena, or Kieran, and Michael, and I see a number of them in the room. I see so many talented candidates here today that are willing to sacrifice their own careers to serve. You know, I see Denny Keenan here, who runs a very successful electrical company. He's running in 3 and 4. I see Navjeet Kaur here, who's in the healthcare sector. I see Ripu Dillon, who runs an immigration company. Jasker and Sandhu, who is a successful communications company. I miss any other candidates here? Okay. Palacio, tell me if I miss anyone. And the point of mentioning this is I want people willing to roll up their sleeves and work hard for our city. And stand with me when we call out hate. And so I know we have many Muslim brothers and sisters here today. And I want to share with you 2 stories that speaks to my approach in the city. The first year as mayor, we decided to hold the city's first ever iftar. And I remember Councillor Basante was in my office, and Councillor Basante is, he reads everything, very thorough, and he says, Mayor, wouldn't it make sense to hold it indoors? And I said, no, I want to hold it outdoors. And I said, if we have an iftar outdoors, it's an example and it's an opportunity to show the entire city what we know. What we know, and that is that the Muslim faith is about love and helping one another. And the best way to fight back against stereotypes and misinformation is education. And so, you know, and Paul Levy said, great idea. We had this iftar. The first year, Urs was actually one of the organizers. It was outside the Rose Theater, and it was a sea of people. And it wasn't just the Muslim community, it was neighbors in the downtown wanting to learn about Ramadan. And how beautiful is that? We learn about each other's backgrounds. So part of our responsibility to create harmony in